Hi, I'm Paweł, I make games, and I'm gonna show you how to import universal render pipeline into your project and use it to improve quality of your pixel art graphics. To start working with it, you need a universal render pipeline package. You may find it under Window Package Manager. Search for Universal RP there and click Install. After a while, the package will be added to your project and you will be ready to start using it. The first thing we're gonna do is to set active every game object which has a sprite renderer or has children with a sprite renderer. In this project it will be scene 1, scene 2 and scene 3. And for example, we don't need to set this game object active because its parent is active. The next crucial step is to change rendering settings. To do this, we're gonna need a new rendering universal render pipeline asset. We may leave its name as it is, and as you can see, after we confirm it, we have two new universal render pipeline things instead of one. One of them has asset and the second one has asset renderer in its name. We don't need the second one. That's because we will use rendering universal render pipeline 2D renderer. Now we need to select the previously created URP item and use new 2D renderer as its renderer. Next we need to hit Edit Project Settings. There we need to go to Graphics options and use our universal render pipeline there. And finally, we are ready to change the material of our sprites. We need to do so to make those game objects react to our pipeline. Go to Edit, Render Pipeline, Universal Render Pipeline, 2D Renderer, and lastly, upgrade scene to 2D Renderer. It's worth to note that those changes to the materials used in the sprite renderer will be hard to set back to the previous state, so make sure that you know what you are doing and if you want to, make a backup of your scene. After you click proceed, you will see some changes in your game. For example, a Unity console tells you that a lot of game objects were upgraded. We don't see any errors there, so everything is fine, and we are ready to talk about what just happened in the game scene. We can't see anything except UI elements, and that's because we have a new material in every sprite renderer. Before it was sprite default, now it's sprite lit default. That means they need a source of light from the package we installed in this video to be visible. At this point you may set your game objects back to inactive state. I will just leave the scene 0 and 1 to see the changes. Now we need a source of light which is under Light 2D Global Light 2D. You have a one global light which makes every sprite visible. Just like before adding universal RP. Before we start working with the shadows, let's hide this game object, for example in the main camera. And for now, let's leave it as it is. As you may know, a regular light, for example a point light, doesn't work there, but now we can add a 2D freeform light 2D. It's clearly visible that it does something. Now let's get rid of those UI elements and create a normal map for the sprite sheet. A normal map is basically an information for the computer about how a given 2D object would look in a 3D world, and it's used to generate a shadow. If you don't know how to create your own normal map, you can learn that by watching a video which is in the description of this video and in the top right corner. Basically, all you need is a program for that and to move some sliders there. Before we start using it, we need to change its settings. Firstly, we need to tell Unity that its texture type is normal map. And because it's also a pixel art, we need to change filter mode to point and compression to none, just like with the spreadsheet. Now hit apply and we are ready to open up sprite editor in our sprite sheet. There we need to find secondary textures and click this plus icon. There we choose a normal map option and select our normal map file. Hit apply and check if something has changed. As you can see, nothing has changed because our lights don't use normal maps. As you may guess, we're gonna create a light that has this option enabled. Create a new light, 2D, for example, parametric light 2D, and move it somewhere over there. Change its size amount to 4 to get a square, and because it's a pixel art game, we also need to get rid of this fall off effect. Change the fall off intensity to 0, just like the fall off itself. That way we get really sharp and square shaped light, which is easy to work with. Next we need to make it way bigger, so let's increase its radius. 25 should be okay, because that will cover up your whole scene. A very important thing is that only the center of this square is a source of light, and only this point is used to calculate shadows. Alrighty, as you've probably noticed, our scene is painfully ugly now. That's because the light is too intense. We need something really small, for example 0.15. Okay, and finally let's use normal maps there to generate shadows. Okay, we can really see some shadows there, but the first problem is that the light looks really weird there. If you also have this problem, you should change the blend style to blend style 1, for example. The other thing you can do is to play with the distance of this light. As you can see, those circles change as we do that. And to make those shadows more visible, we can change the intensity to 0.2. It seems like I didn't delete a testing light, so let me do it now so I won't confuse you anymore. And anyway, all we need to do now is to grab this light and use it in the scene 2. Now let's duplicate it and use its copy in the scene 1. Now we are able to use a different source of light in the other scene. It's not like it will work only within the scene or anything. Look, if we grab the player and move her a little bit, we can see that she also has some shadows. Okay, so that's what we have achieved in this video. We have shadows making our game a little bit better quality, and they work with the animations, with moving objects and everything, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? Anyway, in the next video we're gonna improve the intro scene and the endgame scene using those lights. Have a good day and see you soon!